This is Steve Beverly asking for your help. WLJT Channel 11, West Tennessee's home for educational and quality TV since 1968, needs your financial support. We don't sell commercials. Instead, we rely on donations from viewers. Channel 11 is the most local station in all of West Tennessee, bringing you local shows about events, happenings, and issues important to West Tennessee. It's really easy to donate. Go to westtnpbs.org. It's quick, easy, and secure. Donate today and show your support for local, educational, and quality television. Channel 11 needs your support today.
They are preserving the past while celebrating the rich history of one of Jackson's most iconic communities. Hello, I'm Tom Britt. On this edition of Tennessee is Talking, the topic is the Bemis Historical Society. From its roots as a small mill town to its lasting cultural impact, we'll explore how this dedicated group is preserving history and sharing the spirit of Bemis with the world. Let the conversation begin.
We are rolling. Confirm record. Can we get a mic check? Check, check. Stand by camera 2. Take 2. Stand by announcer in 3, 2.
West Tennessee PBS presents Tennessee is Talking. Let the conversation begin.
Thanks for joining the discussion here on Tennessee is Talking. Hello, I'm Tom Britt. The Bemis Historical Society is a group dedicated to keeping the rich story of Bemis alive and ensuring its legacy is not lost to time. Here to tell us more is the chairman of the board of directors, Joel Jackson. Joel, thanks for joining us today. And tell us about how the Bemis Historical Society got started, how it began.
Well, it's rather unique. It was over coffee. We were having coffee.
As many things, yeah.
Anything can happen over coffee.
Yeah.
But we were having coffee, or they were having coffee at Kroger South. And I was working in the meat department at Kroger South back in 1997. And they kept talking about Bemis. And I'd take my break so I would get in on it and go up and sit and talk. And there was about 5 or 6 guys from Bemis there, and they was always telling stories of this happened at Halloween, this happened on Saturday, and this
happened at the mill or whatever.
Yeah, it went on, and finally somebody said, "We need a place where we can just do this all the time." And somebody said, "Let's start a historical society." And so they said, "You're in charge." They pointed to me. I said, "Well, where are we going to meet?
Yeah.
We don't have a place to meet." And so I thought of the Methodist Church. They would have a place. So we met at the Methodist Church for a number of years, and it developed as a society. And 1998, we actually formed the society and elected officers. So that was just about a 3-month spread there, and we got started.
Tell us about the role that the Bemis Historical Society has in preserving Bemis and the history and the people that were there.
Well, we could not preserve it if a unique thing hadn't happened. There was a warehouse in Bemis, which was a former theater. It was the warehouse of the storm door and window place, and it was just full of all kind of junk. And he decided he wanted to get rid of all that junk. It just
sitting there, right?
Yeah, he couldn't get rid of it, so he just junked it, I think, and sold it as aluminum, and made a few bucks, and said, "This place is for sale. Who wants it?" And we said, "We'll take it."
Yeah, which a historical building there too.
Yeah.
What are some of the most significant historical events or figures associated with the Bemis area that the society focuses on and preserves? Of course, the mill, it comes without doubt, you know.
Yeah, everybody in the mill.
Had it not been for the mill, it wouldn't have been a Bemis, right? Probably.
Yeah, it was everybody that was a big shot in Bemis became famous. You know, we like to highlight the guys who were in charge of the mill, and so that was our focus when we first started. Remember when and what all he did to help make the people happy. Actually, I don't think that's a requirement today to make the people happy, but it was at Bemis. They wanted them to stay because it was a hard job getting them trained, and you don't want to lose a trained employee.
Sure, that's for sure.
So,
How does the Bemis Historical Society engage with the local community in Jackson to promote the awareness of that area there?
well, we're like everybody else. We're highly reliant upon the internet. We have about 4 different ways of finding you or you finding us on the internet. The best way so you can just remember it, it's bemishistory.org. If you start there, you get all kinds of links. You can link to the Facebook, you can link to our history. The story of Bemis is written out and all about it. Charter members, pictures, artifacts that are in the museum, which is too numerous to mention. We probably have over 3,000 artifacts and a couple of thousand photographs. It's just mind-boggling. When somebody comes in for a tour, I always say, do you want the 30-minute tour or the 8-hour tour? So we preserve everything.
Yeah, and it's housed inside of the building you were talking about
Yes.
earlier, the old theater building, which became a warehouse and
Yeah,
now
it
is a
was
museum,
warehouse.
right?
It took a lot of money.
Yeah, it was a museum.
$650,000 later.
Wow, yeah, that's for sure. You know, and I've been there, and I was wowed when I went through there and saw all the things that you had from a cotton sack,
Everything has a story.
to the mill doctor's tools and his little
Oh,
black
yeah.
bag, and I mean, it was amazing. People don't realize. I guess it was like one of the first steps of the Jackson area getting away from an agrarian society to people working in an actual
that
plant,
right.
right?
Yeah, that's
when
right.
the mill opened around the turn of the century, 1900 or so,
1900, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's when they turned the first shovel
when they started it
in
anyway.
1900. It was June before the mill started of the next year. But that was good to build a mill. And at the same time we were building the mill, they were building housing for the workers, different crews. They got, I wonder how many people
Work down
involved
there, right?
getting that thing going.
Yeah, and people still live in some of those homes, don't they,
Yeah.
today?
Oh, yeah.
And really made them look really, really nice.
They're solid.
Yeah. Then you could just walk down the road and get a drink out of the artesian well,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
If you wanted.
Well, there was about 4 artesian wells in Bemis, just for the convenience of the people walking around.
Yeah, very nice there.
Yeah.
And I guess too, it's one of the first times in Jackson that a plant came and they built actual housing for the workers, right?
That's rare.
Was rare back then at the turn
yeah,
of the century and that sort of thing.
I think cotton mills were about the only thing that did that at that time. Later on, the Alcoa aluminum did it years later.
Right, much later. But still standing down there. What's your role with the Bemis Historical Society?
Well, I'm chairman. That means
You get to do a little bit of everything?
I open the door and I sweep the floor.
Yeah, that's for sure. And that was the next question, kind of, how do you care and manage all those artifacts? I mean, it's got to be hard to just catalog and know
Well,
what you have and what you don't
As they
have.
come in, like I say, we've been in business for 25 years. So as the people bring them in, we had a system that we borrowed from somebody that they wanted us to buy, but we didn't buy it, but we did notice how they did it.
Had the idea, right?
So we
Yeah.
took their system, and the first, say you bring something in, we'll put a white piece of paint on it, and then let it dry, and on that we will write the year, 2025, dot. And if that was the third person of that year, we would put 003. Third person of 25 donation, then another dot, and the first item they donate is 0001. So everything has a unique number, and you know when it was donated,
Yeah.
and it's on the product.
And so you keep the record.
And then we got a paper record of that.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Can you walk us through a typical event, say like the Heritage Day that the Bemis Historical Society organizes and puts on?
Right.
A long
It
day,
actually
right?
starts the year before. I write down the things that we need to remember.
Right. Sure.
That's not common. And then in January, I set up and book the tent, because you never know when they're going to have a wedding about that time, and somebody wants a big tent. And there's a limited number of tents in Jackson. So I go January the 2nd. They're closed on the 1st, so I go on the 2nd and book the tent. And then we start, maybe the next month, we book the barbecue. We always have barbecue because that's traditional.
Yeah, in the
And
South.
then that's February. And then about March, we start contacting the people that are going to donate other things that are going to be eaten that day. And it's basically the same group every year, but we don't want them to know ahead of time. And by April, we're down to the nitty gritty, and everything is pretty well lined out. And it's basically the same thing every year, but you got to contact everybody every
and
year.
line them up, yeah, make sure. And sometimes you have music too, don't you, and things like
We
that?
have,
In the
at
past?
first we had 2 days, and then we'd have music on Friday night. And then we had W.S. Holland. Well, W.S. is no longer around.
Right.
So we kind of lost out there, and then we started trying to get other people, and they had other obligations, and finally we quit Friday night because it was, some people would come on Friday night, some would come on Saturday. So we figured if we do it just on Saturday, they would come
Everybody
just on
would
Saturday
come, right? Yeah.
and save us half the work.
Sure. See, for the same thing too. Does the society collaborate with local schools, libraries, and other education institutions?
Well, yeah, we were big in with the Union University Library back in the early 2000. They did a research project on Bemis, so we got pretty close to that program at Union, and opened a museum up, or at that time there wasn't much of a museum.
More of a display, right?
But we
yeah.
had the products for them to fiddle through, with their fingers and look for
Yeah.
everything. But the 6th grade, we tried to educate them about Bemis, because it was at that school there in Bemis. But the state of Tennessee got us, they cut out people coming by and visiting the schools, and they didn't like that. So we got cut out.
Yeah. Can you share an example of a successful preservation project that was undertaken by the society in Bemis?
Well, our best artifact is the building itself. It's the biggest,
Which
and
is
the,
unique, yeah.
the biggest and the best, and it's the one that determined everything else. Before we had to put heating and air and all that, dehumidifiers, because you have a lot of things that are sensitive to moisture. So we have a system that keeps the humidity at 55%, and the heat, we just kind of let that ride because we're not there when we're not there, because utility bill would be like astronomical.
Yeah, it's a large building.
$1,000 a month.
Right, right.
And we're poor folks.
Yeah, yeah. All donations appreciated, right?
Yeah,
if people want to help you out there in that
Yeah.
way. But how do you keep the history of Bemis accessible to the public, whether through exhibits, publications, or digital media? Do you speak to like civic groups or anything like that to talk about
I do.
Bemis?
Yeah. Different ones at different times, and some I have done a couple twice, touching base with other people and trying to get them to be aware that we're there.
Yeah, and if someone wants you, they can call you, or what do they need to do?
Yeah,
Just go to your
well,
website?
We have our phone number and email address and everything on the door. Now, we don't have regular hours because we opened up for 1 month one time, and I guess we picked the wrong month.
Yeah.
Sat there for the whole month, and we had like 3 people.
Oh, right.
And the regular month before that was having like 2 dozen, so you never know. It was nobody wanted to sit there for a month.
Sure, that's sure.
But we're able to get a hold of anybody. A lot of people will notify us ahead of time from out of state. I'm going to be there on a certain date.
Mm-hmm.
Can you open up for us?
Mm-hmm.
And we're there. And we usually give about an hour is all we do because we don't overburden them.
Right.
But we have another hour if they want to drive around Bemis. We have 52 historic markers in Bemis, and I go take a route that covers all 52.
Yeah, it is a very historical little community that's grown into a part of Jackson now. Does the society work with local residents to document and share the personal stories or family histories related to Bemis?
Not local residents. They're grandkids. So they don't have any idea what Bemis is all about. But we do have a large file we started in like the year 2000, and people would do like a one-page history of their memories of Bemis. And we have a whole file of those people that did that back in those days. But if you were to interview somebody today, they said, I don't know why Bemis is here, and I don't know what that thing's all about. Nobody that lives there now was actually part of the heyday.
Right. Yeah. It's been a while.
Except me.
Yeah. Well, I'm old enough too, and I had relatives there, and I remember going there as a kid and visiting, and the mill was in full operation and going big, and I remember people coming out of the mill, and they would be just covered with that white cotton lint. You know what I mean?
All in their
hair.
hair.
Everybody was gray-headed at the end of the day there, weren't they?
Yeah.
It was quite the sight. And I remember even behind the YMCA, they had a baseball field. I played baseball there, with the Dixie Youth League or something like that. It always fascinated me that was such a charming little community in town at that time. Probably wasn't even a part of Jackson then, I guess.
No.
In the 50s and 60s, and that sort of thing.
My daddy was at Christmas dinner one time. Conversation got turned to Bemis, and he said something, and I've enshrined it since then. He said, Bemis was the best place in the world to grow up in poverty.
Well,
you didn't get rich, but you had fun.
That's true. You had a company store, you had a theater, you had a company doctor. I mean, you didn't have to go in. And Jackson was a long way away then, right?
That's 3 miles away. You couldn't walk.
You couldn't walk. I guess you could have just taken a long time, right?
A lot of people didn't have cars in the 20s.
Yeah, that's for sure. But it was a very self-sufficient community, that's for sure. How do you see the role of the Bemis Historical Society evolving as the Jackson-Bemis area continues to grow and change? And more people, talk of a bypass coming down near that area and that sort of thing too.
The proposed bypass is going to miss it.
I knew that.
Come around the cemetery, even miss our cemetery.
Well, that's good.
But I don't see that there be a lot of interest in it. Phones are a lot more interesting to kids than history.
Well, yeah, if it's not right here, they don't believe it has happened, right, or is happening. That's
you don't worry about history until you're 45 years old.
Yeah, and I think as you age too, you may want to go back and look at some of your ancestors, and that's
a
good way to do that, isn't it? Because I've been there and I've seen time cards that people had signed.
We have time cards, doctor bills. We have actual doctor bills.
Yeah, they could learn a lot probably if they think their family is from the Bemis area, right?
We had one guy who had 13 kids, and everybody had payroll deduction for their doctor bill. $1 was all you paid per week.
Wow.
But he had to pay $2 because he had so
many kids. He kept the doctor busy, right?
Busy.
The mill doctor busy, that's for sure. Is there a specific piece of Bemis history, as we know the mill is gone, that the society would like to see preserved or highlighted maybe more prominently or permanently?
Well, we have the company store area, which is still in existence, and it's completely filled right now. We have 4 different people, post office plus 3 retail businesses that are there. So we like it because it's being preserved.
Yeah, that's for sure.
They're paying the bill. We just see it.
Well, we heard your story about getting involved with the society. Actually, through a coffee break, right?
Yeah.
And you just stayed, right? How long have you been doing that now? And working with the society, got involved with it and working
every day.
Every day.
It's every day.
How many years would you say now?
since 97,
97.
or 25,
Yeah, sure.
28 years.
28 years, yeah.
My wife says, it's just like a job. Just like a job.
Well,
it is a job.
Well, it is, but you enjoy, I'm sure, too.
Yes.
Would you like to see other people become involved with the society?
We would. My latest dream is for have more corporate sponsorships to help us with money. As we've gone along, we've had a lot of different people who have died. So our 400 members early on has dwindled to like 200.
Mm-hmm.
So and also for every person there's money, and corporate sponsorship would certainly help.
Yeah, money sure does make things work a lot easier when you need things, right?
Yeah.
You have a building to repair and heat and cool and have people.
Well, if you can't get a grant, you're up a creek.
Yeah, that's for sure. Do you get some grants? Have you received some grants to help preserve some of this?
We did just recently. State of Tennessee had what they called museum grants, and we got $19,000, and we put about half of it on the rotten doors that were there. The doors were like 100 years old, and they were becoming a problem. The front doors had already been done, but the two side doors, and we have the product on hand right now, vinyl doors, which should last another 1,000 years.
Yeah, well, you won't have to worry about that, will you? I won't either, for sure.
But that was one of the items, and the other item was our ramp for the handicapped was a little bit. We had a piece of plywood that they had to use to get on it. It was state of the art, but to get to it, you had plywood that would go across, and we needed to fix that. And we just spent $8,000 of that grant money getting a sloped concrete to get up to the extra 5-inch high to get started. People in wheelchairs can't jump 5 inches.
That's for sure. Make it easier to access, that's for sure. Of course, I know that the city worked to do a park there. Is the park up and going now? I have not visited the park, if it is.
Mill Park, yes. Yeah. It's complete. In fact, it's been renovated because it's been there like 6 or 8 years. But it's basically just a walking track.
On the side of the old mill, right?
On the side of the old mill. It's a quarter mile.
Quarter mile around?
Yeah, asphalt walking.
What do you find most rewarding about preserving and sharing the history of Bemis and the lives of people who lived and worked and died there?
Actually, it's the memories themselves in my head. When somebody says something, I think of this, and then it goes to that, and then the other, and I'll get a whole line of pleasant thoughts.
And then try to find some people that can help put some of those ideas working and become a part of the museum there, right? Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
We need help.
Yeah. I think all nonprofits do not have enough people. You're always looking for that another person. And when you get our age, it's like, we need some young people to start doing some of this stuff, right? You know.
I mean, 60 is young.
It is. It certainly is. That's for sure. If people want to come, they just should go on your website, get your number, and call and set up an appointment time.
If they just happen by, I have a big number on the front door. I can be there in 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm. So if they want to come and see and enjoy, and you can
sitting there waiting, I'll just be at home.
You can give them the 10-cent tour or the 50-cent tour, right?
Well, we don't charge.
Well, I'm just joking about that. I do walk them around.
Jug.
Yeah.
Donations.
Yeah. Do you go station to station, or do you just have a route that you take to kind of set it up? Or?
It is. I go down one side of the building and go up and down, and then I'll kind of walk fast at some places if they want a short one. But other places I'll linger and give the details. Yeah.
Is there one area that people focus on once they get inside the museum?
They do.
And read? I mean, there's a lot of things you can read when you're in there, right there.
Most of the people that linger at the J.B. Young High School composite
Composite
picture
photo,
of all the,
yeah.
and that's where Grandpa is.
Yeah, or grandma, or my aunt, my uncle, my
Aunt
cousins.
Lucy's on there. I think she graduated in 47. Where's 47?
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah,
Well, once again, let's tell the folks how they can find out more about the Bemis Historical Society.
BemisHistory.org. That's simple.
That's easy. Then you can link to other places and
Yeah,
find
and
out
then
other
there's
things.
all kinds of. You can actually at that site you can view our meetings we have. They're videoed, and because they're videoed, you can click on which month and which
Pull
date.
it up and listen
Yeah,
and see what's going on or what may be going on,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
And you couldn't make it. You had a late doctor's appointment. You just watch it on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, on your phone.
Yeah, that's for sure. Thank you. Well, Joel, thanks for coming by today.
Yeah.
And letting us
Thank you
know
for having us.
for the Bemis Historical Society and about everything that's going on out there to preserve the history and the legacy of the community of Bemis.
Thank you.
All right. Well, sadly, we've run out of time again for this edition of Tennessee is Talking. We want to thank Joel Jackson for stopping by and telling us about the Bemis Historical Society. If you want to rewatch this program or share it with a friend, remember it can be streamed anytime on the PBS app, along with all the local Channel 11 programs. You can also watch it on westtnpbs.org. Keep the conversation going by following West Tennessee PBS on social media. And until the next time, keep on talking, Tennessee.
Do you have a topic you'd like to see discussed on a future episode of Tennessee is Talking? Maybe you want to be a guest and have something to talk about. Send your ideas to tnistalking@westtnpbs.org. Include all your contact information and let the conversation continue.
The program you've been watching was made possible through the generous financial support of West Tennessee PBS viewers like you. Please visit westtnpbs.org and make a donation today so that we can continue to make local programs like this possible. Thank you.